So, hello and welcome to another fun-filled edition of Geeks Assembled today. And throughout the course of this weekend, we have actually been doing a triple header of Star Trek. Yay! This time we're doing the straddle piece between the original series and the next generation. It's actually considered to be a completely next generation piece. It's called Star Trek Generations. And yeah, we have it's Lee and I, and we have been watching this one, and we watched the one right before that, Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country, and we have watched the White Iris as part of the Star Trek Continues, and so we hope that you've enjoyed our beautiful repartee in discussing one of the great science fiction juggernauts of all time, Star Trek. And this one is and we're headed towards the season 3 of Picard. And so I'm just encouraging you to get on board, take your shuttlecraft and seriously try to catch up to the Enterprise, because here we are. And this one has two Enterprises, the NCC 1701B and NCC 1701E, I think. Yeah, no, D. I think it's D.
It's D.
I think it's D. That's a B. No, let's see. B. A. B. C. D. Yeah, D. Okay, so 1701D. And so we are enjoying this, and let's see what Lee's opening thoughts are for Star Trek Generations.
Star Trek Generation was originally intended to be a handover from the original to the next gen.
A real straddle.
Yeah. Originally there was going to be more of the original cast in this, but certain actors just said no, they've done their part, and their swan song was the last movie. They didn't want to do any more. So you just get three of the actors. Luckily, you get Kirk, Scotty, and Chekhov.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I know, originally it was what Scotty and Chekhov doing this was originally going to be Spock and I think it was McCoy.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
but hey ho, you can't have everything. But at least we've got three of the originals in this to sort of a handover, which sets up the story of the Nexus, which sort of hits the newly Enterprise B, shall we say, and then it goes. Is it 80 years into the future? Because this Enterprise B is hit by this Nexus while saving other ships in distress caught in the Nexus. So beaming people, trying to beat people aboard and save them. Which you find out that Professor Soran is one of those people, and also a young little actress called Whoopi Goldberg, who we know from the Next Generation as well, as Gianna. So then say it skips 80 years into the future, and we're in the Next Generation crew on a sailing ship. you think, what's going on here? And then you realise it's the holodeck. But it's they get sort of involved in Soran's plan to return back to the Nexus. He's still around 80 years later, trying to get back to the Nexus, and so Picard's dragged into that. His crew's all dragged into that. And the Nexus is a place of where anything can happen, where you can live out your life anywhere you want, live your past over again, go to see your future or what could have been, just live there content. And that's where Soran wants to go back to. And it takes, because Picard's separated from all of his crew, it takes advice from Whoopi Goldberg to seek out Kirk, who is trapped in the Nexus from 80 years ago. So great to see these two captains joining forces, because you never get to see it again. Well, not on film anyway. You do in the books, known as the Shatnerverse. But so the two captains have to work together.
Wait, are you saying that after Viridian 3, they find a way to bring Kirk back?
Well, if you this is in books.
I know. I'm asking. I don't even know.
Yeah, written by well, I think it's 2 authors, but one of the authors is William Shatner.
Oh, okay.
That's what I said.
Fun.
The Shatnerverse. Apparently, if I remember right, I can't remember what it's called. Oh, it's The Return. It's called. I think it's his body is stolen by, was it the Romulans? I can't remember which, but to sort of bring him back to life somehow. But Picard's in it as well, and Kirk's in it as well, and all like that. But search out the books. I think there's about 2 more after the sort of carrying on from this movie. It takes two captains to work together to defeat Soran, but it also takes one of the captains' lives, and we see a legend die on a desolated planet with not with the captain on the bridge, but the bridge on the captain.
Oh my God, that's a bad joke. Oh my gosh, that's a bad pun. Oh gosh, oh groan.
Well, do you think they did that on purpose in the movie?
I have no idea, but I just didn't even think of it until now. Groan.
But and to see Kirk's final moments was a bit heart-wrenching. But all in all, a good movie.
Yeah,
it's a great story. So that's my opening thoughts, and I'll come to my favourite bits. But back over to you.
Okay. I really thought that he had died completely. When I first saw this movie, I thought that after he got hit by that
the
piece of the Nexus, that he was gone for good. Like that had killed him, because unlike the Star Wars galaxy, this galaxy actually has vacuum in space. And it's really bad for your lungs, and it's really, really bad for your blood. and you're all the liquid inside your body, it kind of boils it. So you lose organ integrity. And so, since he wasn't wearing no spacesuit, he would have been fucked up. He would have ended up outside of the confines of the Enterprise, or outside of the force field, or anything like that. He would have been so dead. And so, like, that was me being really logical, coming at it like from a scientific perspective, going, oh yeah, that's yeah, just
Yeah.
and then he comes back in the Nexus, and I'm like, what the? And that was a little bit like, oh, science fiction. And then that was like the science fiction movement.
The Nexus had scooped him as it
Yeah,
passed.
yeah, I get it now.
Yeah.
But I was just like, there wasn't any way like he could have survived in space.
Yeah.
After being knocked out of the ship. I mean, that was the end, for all intents and purposes. Scientifically, that was the end. Anyway, the other thing that was that kind of went along with this was like this whole thing with Data and his emotion chip. I mean, I love that. And the fact that he was like singing and laughing and trying shit that he didn't like. And then and then being paralyzed by fear. I mean, Brent Spiner just was munching the scenery, acting his full head off for that one. And so that was good. And the other thing that was really fantastic about this whole thing was the Data in stellar cartography and Picard in stellar cartography, trying to determine the direction that the Nexus Ribbon's going. And they talk about the starship Bozeman. This is like the first of 4 or 5 really awesome references to Bozeman over the next like 4 movies. And Bozeman is my hometown in Montana, and it's where Brendan Branagh from. And so, it's all about that. Bozeman is such a great place that it's going to end up in Star Trek 4 times in the next 4 movies. I just love that. So awesome. Yeah, Bozeman is pretty cool. I get that kind of pride that you get when you see Hull, like the old buildings and stuff that make it look like London or any place else. That's Hull, and that's Lee's thing. For me, it's like Bozeman. Anyway, so yeah, and then the other thing, I really like the Enterprise as a big sailing vessel. You could tell it was a shallow thing because the water was so stationary. It wasn't like really rocking, and there wasn't a big wind. Anyway, so that was fun. And so let's see, other things like the Enterprise D splitting apart, having to go into sections because the warp core is going critical. I love it. Usually, I mean, heck, before they were all going through warp cores like crazy, like to just eject them into space, eject them. But this time they had to eject the whole thing, the whole engineering section, all of medical, everything else, all of that stuff had to go. And that was pretty cool. And then the way that they crash landed on the planet, that was pretty cool. and I want to leave some fun moments so that he can. So, what were your favorite moments
Well,
or stuff that really mattered?
the scene where Picard gets the news of his brother's death.
Oh yeah.
His brother's death and his brother's wife. Which we mentioned his brother last time we reviewed the last season of Picard, because they totally forgot that he had a brother in that series. Because they were making it out like he was the only child in the series.
True.
But he gets the news of his brother's death, and the acting from Patrick Stewart in that scene, that little scene, is amazing. The Klingons are back. Time we've got. Are they twin sisters? The two Klingon female. They look very similar.
Yeah, they've been. They were in the Next Generation a couple of times because of Worf. Because
we discovered in the Undiscovered Country, the Star Trek 6, that Klingons have got like purple blood.
Or yeah, like it's like Pepto-Bismol. It's like pink bismuth.
But in this, it's just normal blood color.
I know.
Come on, guys, a bit of. But until let's go to the villain of the piece, Professor Soran, Malcolm McDowell.
No.
What a brilliant actor, and to have him play the character what sort of kills Kirk. Spoilers. Yeah. Sorry.
What are you talking about? Spoilers. This is from like.
Yeah, no.
What is this?
1994.
94.
No. Yeah, having Malcolm McDowell play that character.
So good.
His desperation to get back to the Nexus, he'll do anything.
Yeah.
To just do that, he don't care who he hurts, who he kills. He just wants to get back to the Nexus. Great character, villain character. I mean, I would say he's up there with Khan.
Yeah. I could put that. Yeah.
Yeah. And say that the scenes with Picard and Kirk together was just wonderful to see.
I know.
Great chemistry.
That's true.
And when they're fighting together and trying to stop Soran, and say finally Kirk's last moments. Did you? I mean, his last words was "Oh my." Coming from Kirk, I don't know.
Isn't that George Takei's thing?
Well, this is what I'm just going to bring up. Is that George Takei's sort of piss take? Because every time he's on anything, he goes, "Oh my." Is he still taking the piss out of Shatner?
I don't know.
I don't know. He seems a very bitter old man, does George Takei. I'm sorry. He might be a nice guy, but come on. Stop whinging and moaning about, your William Shatner got paid this more and got more screen time. He was the main actor.
Yeah.
You were a supporting cast.
Yep.
But hey ho. But yeah, to have Kirk's last words are, "Oh my," I'd have expected a little bit more from Kirk. Question though, Susan. Why did Picard why did he bury him on a mountaintop?
I don't know.
I mean, the shuttle came and picked Picard up. I'd have thought they'd have moved Kirk's body and took it back to Earth for a proper hero's burial.
I know. You'd think, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But then they left him up there so that the book could happen. The books that you were talking about. I don't know.
Yeah, the books. I know Shatner had so much to do with the books, and I think that it was called The Return. And I'm positive it was the Romulans who came and took his body away from the mountain, did something, brought him back, did something to his head, and he was against the Federation, Kirk, or something like that. But there's another book after that, and I can't remember the title of that.
Mm.
But it's been a while since I read that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just can't understand why.
The fact that I didn't know and you knew, I give you kudos. Big time fandom. Kudos. Nice one. Nice one, Lee.
I just don't understand why he was left on the mountain. Because you'd take the body back, wouldn't you? Give it a hero's burial.
You would, wouldn't you?
He saved countless lives by giving his life.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, what is it? 300 some million on the next planet over.
Yeah.
That's no small potatoes.
Yeah. So the only person who knew, well, unless he was, because I don't know if Picard told the other crew what had gone on. Picard is the only person who knew his body was up there, sort of thing. I wouldn't have done that. I'd have given him a hero's burial,
right?
But I don't know if Shatner was disappointed with this or not. But he seemed to enjoy himself. He was back for one last hurrah.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was able to get Patrick Stewart on a horse, which Patrick Stewart likes to ride, and William Shatner likes to ride. So Kirk and Picard necessarily like to ride, and their little scenes, like the idyllic English wifey or waifu and his little children that are so perfect, and everybody's so richly vestmented, and the kids have spilled nothing on their clothes. I mean, like, what kids are these? I mean,
that was a glimpse into a future what could be.
That was a total fiction future. Yeah. I mean, there was no way those children are real. Renee was real. Renee was the one real person, because even though he was in a nice jacket, his face wasn't just beaming. Mm. The trouble is this Nexus has a tendency to lie to you, and make you think that this is like.
As Picard said, he never married. He's never had kids.
No, but I mean, it wasn't just like this is what could be. It's like, we're gonna dress this up so that you never want to go. I mean, it's eating people. Basically, this Nexus is eating people. It's a bait and switch.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the proof that, to begin with, Kirk didn't want to help out. He wanted to stay where he was.
Yeah.
And Soran wanted to be back there, so he had a taste of it.
Yeah, bait and switch. Total. Yeah. So in one sense, Soran was the bad guy. In another sense, it was totally this Nexus.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, you just feel like really, and the wife and Picard's wife was wearing this super, frilly sort of 1900s.
It's like a Victorian.
Yeah, or a Victorian dress. Yeah. And yet he was, he was fond of kind of the way he was with Crusher, and the way he was with that especially that woman that's coming up in the movie two shows down. I mean, he likes a woman with a little bit of style, and this woman was just straight out like Victorian, like there was nothing, sexy or stylish about her. She was, I mean, as sexy and beautiful as she was, she was just frumpy, and I was so surprised. I was like, that's not what Jean-Luc would have chosen. He would have chosen somebody who was a little fun, who liked a lot of wine, who wasn't completely worried about tea, who was just like, a little bit French. Yeah.
It was sort of straight out of a Dickens novel.
Not somebody straight out of a Dickens novel, right? So anyway, like that's my opinion on his wife, and but the fact that every single thing out of Kirk's life was real was there to ensnare him, because he did have a whole shitload of regrets.
Yeah.
I mean, he was Mr. I have the regrets. And yeah, so that was really interesting, is like how different Picard's world versus Kirk's world was.
Yeah. I mean, also as well, you've mentioned Data, and Brent was actually, just as you said, acting his socks off, chewing the scenery. Which I love that. I love that when Data used to do that. But his love for his cat Spock was quite nice at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
It's a shame that most of the other cast, like Dr. Crusher, Deanna Troi, even Riker, didn't really have much to do in this.
But
Geordi
it was
did.
weird though that when the Klingons said, fire at will, the very next scene, and all the scenes until that ship was destroyed were all of Will Riker.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, what do they got a problem with Will? What the fuck? They got a problem with Riker? Anyway, I just thought that was kind of a weird, fun moment there.
Even Worf didn't really have much to do in this.
No.
But say Data did. He, it was all about his emotion chip, and said Geordi did as well. He got kidnapped, and so there was all that side of the story of it.
Oh yeah, and the other thing that was really interesting about this was, out of all the characters, there was like these incredibly rude moments, like where they were just downright mean to the people around them.
Yeah.
Like first it was Kirk and McCoy, and then or Kirk and Scotty, and then there was after they met with Sulu's daughter, there was like this rudeness there too.
That made me laugh. When did Sulu find time to have a family?
and then Scotty goes, "Oh, are we finding your retirement a little lonely? Are we?" And that's really rude. I mean, not lonely. I get it. If you had been a long-term friend of somebody, you wouldn't go, lonely, are you? You'd be like, are you lonely?
Maybe he was just having a little.
No, they were all rude. There was rudeness in there. There was rudeness of everybody. Picard was rude to Riker. Data. I don't know if Data was. Data was rude to Crusher, and then Geordi was rude right back to Data after doing that. I mean, there's just like one thing after another. All these rude moments when they were just mean. Like they could have written it different. Like the writers really made these all of our favorites just mean to each other, and I just like I was just noticing that, and on this watch through, I was like, I love this movie, but damn, they're rude. Damn, they're mean.
Well, I suppose writing a movie is totally different to character development in a TV series, I suppose.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can
You
understand why
just throw some shit on paper and hope that the actors don't eat it.
Yeah. Well, we've got all these.
Don't be so mean. Anybody writing scripts, don't be mean. Don't make your characters be mean to each other. Unless they're going bonkers. But these ones, it was like the whole fucking thing. Everybody in here was mean to each other at one point, and not just.
And shall we assume that Sulu is not gay as a character?
No, I wouldn't say that. You can have kids. You can have lots of adopted kids in San Francisco. Doesn't his who he partners with won't affect his adoption status or even his surrogacy status, you know?
It just made me giggle there. I thought, oh right.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I see that. But yeah. I was that was a good question though, right? What you just said.
So so you're roasting this one, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, so beside the rudeness, the other situation that I just have to bring light to is that wasn't it weird that in the last movie they put a Viridian patch on the captain, and in this movie they're blowing up the planet called Viridian 3 and Viridian 4 or something, or the star Viridian. You know, you can choose different names for different things. You can use some more words, make up some more weird words. I just suggest it because you need to. That's your job as science fiction writers. You have to come up with more stuff. Don't just reuse old stuff.
And if you're going to reuse it, just swap a letter around.
Yeah, or something. Yeah, there you go. So, yeah. So don't be rude and don't you reuse. Just, I mean, and they also reuse the same Klingon warbird or bird of prey explosion scene exactly out of Undiscovered Country. Like that was the exact same exploding Klingon ship.
What I realised from watching this is I'm at this age now what Patrick Stewart was roughly when this was out. So
which is what?
I can't tell you. Early 50s.
Oh.
Mid-50s. So I thought, God, so he was roughly the same age as I am now.
Yeah.
Because he always comes across as an older type of person. I think that's because of the baldness.
I think that's because of the baldness and because he's captain.
Yeah, and I'm thinking,
and because he's not sleeping with all the hottie aliens. That's the only difference. I mean, otherwise, it's all this captaining is is a game for younger men, right?
Yeah, true.
I mean, I don't know. It's a game for younger men.
I mean, also as well to realize as
How
well,
old? How old was
Shatner
Shatner when this was made?
roughly around early 60s,
65, 66, something like that.
63, something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, not too far ahead, but yeah. Anyway, and I loved it. I loved it that they both, during those fight scenes with Soran, they both got really sweaty and stuff. That was quite nice.
Oh, yeah, great action scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great way to write Kirk out. But
And I can't believe you came up with that. The captain on the bridge and the bridge on the captain. Oh,
I don't think
groan.
I don't think I came up with that. I think I read that somewhere at some point.
No. I'll just credit you.
All right, but it's a bit strange. I wonder if they did do that deliberately in the movie.
That is, I, yeah.
Bridge
I
on the
mean,
Captain.
yeah. I'm so surprised. I just had never thought of that. That's just fantastic. That's a total groaner though too. So what are your final say and score then?
Well, I say it's a good sort of crossover between original and next gen. Patrick Stewart, amazing. Shatner can't do no wrong for me. It always will be Kirk, and it'll be a sad day when he goes for me personally. I have two heroes in my life who affected me a lot growing up as a kid. There's William Shatner, because I just used to watch, him as Kirk when I was young, and the other one is Tom Baker.
Mm-hmm.
Those two for me. When those two guys go, I will be distraught.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be acting exactly the same as when Bowie went. So those,
Holy shit.
yeah,
Oh my gosh. Poor.
just one of the childhood heroes. You grow up watching them, and I've enjoyed everything Shatner's done from not just Star Trek, way back when he did the Twilight Zone episodes.
Yeah.
Way back when he did was it the Devil's Reign and the Kingdom of the Spiders and stuff like that, and the Columbo mysteries and all like that.
He he was in the terror at 30,000 feet, and we reviewed that,
Yeah, we
and
did.
that is our second most popular
Oh, is it? Yeah.
video on this YouTube channel.
Oh, I know he was in another episode of Twilight Zone as well. I can't remember the title of it now, but it'll come to me. But yeah, everybody's got childhood heroes. You think you'll never meet, or you just look up to and admire what they do. I mean, I've been lucky enough. I have met Tom Baker, but never ever met the Shatner. And I don't think I'll ever will, because his convention appearances are usually over in the States these days, isn't it? Occasionally comes across into the UK, but not that often. And as I say, he's an old man now, so he's travelling. You might not want to.
Oh, you kidding? He just went to space. Don't worry about that, Lee. Just relax, you. Just chill out. He's gonna be okay.
Oh yeah,
He fucking went to space last year.
but I enjoy his TV show, The Unexplained, as well. That's an amazing show.
Yep.
So yeah, but also as well, all the other actors in this, okay, they were in the background because you had to have if you got two captains, you've got to give them the airtime.
Yep.
And a big thumbs up to Malcolm McDowell as well for Soran. So all in all, for me, a great movie.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it 10. I'm gonna give it 10 Nexuses out of 10.
Oh, jeez. Don't. But the Nexus lies to you. The Nexus isn't truthful.
Who says
Unless
I'm
you're, unless
Who
you're
says
William
I'm telling the
Shatner,
truth?
unless you're Captain Kirk. What?
I might not be telling the truth.
All right. Anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna give this 10 saucer sections out of 10. I love it when you're the favorite ship does something like that, and then the crashing into the planet surface and leaving that 50-mile long bit of skid mark was great. Was really cool. And like the fact that they at the very end they ran into the tree and then all of their momentum just pushed them forward as they came to a dead stop. And one of the people that I was listening to before this about this particular movie was like, why don't they just make seatbelts? And that's why I think that the J.J. Abrams rebooted Star Trek made that Enterprise with seatbelts. So I mean, but when you got people on the bridge doing this thing and then falling out of your chair, I mean, I do that, but I'm in a really tight spot here, so I'm not going to do it. But anyway,
that's just known as sci-fi acting.
Yeah, okay. It's true. It's super cool sci-fi acting, and all of that momentum and all that inertia just is so fun to carry with you and make your body do stuff with. Anyway, fantastic. So I'm really glad that they started mentioning Boseman in this, and that for the next 4 movies they mentioned Boseman, and I really am glad that they have. I mean, Kirk was so tough they had to kill him twice in the same movie. Yeah. Like that's true, and that's a badass. And can't wait for Picard, the new season. My friend Susan Wyman just rewatched all of the Next Generation in preparation for this season, this 3rd season of Picard. I have yet to do a complete rewatch on Next Generation, but I think that after this season of Picard, I'm going to do that. I'm going to get into it and do that. But I also have a lot of other stuff that I'm watching right now. Boy, am I enjoying the Strange New Worlds, and I'm enjoying Below Decks, and I'm enjoying Prodigy, and I'm enjoying all of these various parts of Star Trek, and so yeah, I think we should all enjoy that. We're glutted for content now.
Oh yeah, you've got so much out there.
Yeah,
not everybody's cup of tea, but
and to think before all these new things came out, we were just watching Star Trek Continues and going, yeah, this is really, really awesome. And it turns out it really is. But it also turns out that there's a bunch of new stuff that can come out, like Discovery and yeah, I don't know what's coming next, but maybe there's going to be something with Michelle Yeoh's character called called Section 31, something like that.
I don't know.
Hoping anyway. That would be fun because you know that they need to do a Bourne style Star Trek, something that's like, or Bond style Star Trek, Anyway, that would be fun too. And if you want to join us, we don't care if you like Star Trek or not. We don't care if you like anything that we're reviewing or not, but you have to have an opinion, have to be over 18, have a device that works, have camera, microphone, and Zoom, and join us. And but I mean, don't if you're just gonna hurt Lee. I mean, seriously, I don't want to mess with that.
Yeah, we've had.
I'll stand up for my friend Lee. Anyway, yeah. So I just encourage you to like and subscribe. Hit the bell notification button. I don't know if I can make this heard.
No.
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 Anyway, do hit the bell notification because we do put out this week. We're putting out 3 items of goodness out into the interwebs, and also join us on other forms of the interweb: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and we would be happy to have you. And tell us what you would like to about Star Trek. I like Star Trek. I don't like Star Trek. I'm British. I can't be bothered. I'm British. I watched it since the 60s. Tell us if you completely agree with my head canons about these things. Important. Anyway, just have a brilliant night and a great day, and live long and prosper. And yeah, and don't fire at Will. Will's nice. Don't be rude. Also, don't be rude. Okay, later.